Okay, the idea for this video was there's so many people coming in and asking me about taking photographs with film. There seems to be some kind of resurrection for film lately, and people are just curious how the old cameras worked and so on. So I've recently done a video on using the Mamiya C330 and the twin lens reflex, and I'm going to just go out and take some photographs with it and take you along with me and show you how to set it up, show you basically what you need to do to get some decent photographs. Now, I've loaded this camera with Kodak Ektar 100, which is a print film, so I'm going to be taking taking photographs, but the photographs will be prints, not slides. And then what we'll do is we'll scan those negatives and I will put the photographs up at the tail end of this video. I will also put up some photographs of slides that I took using this camera probably 20 years ago, and it is, being honest with you, it is an excellent camera. It's just not convenient because digital is so easy. You just set up the camera, you take the shot and you plug it into your computer and you've got the photographs. Whereas this, you have to take the photographs, you have to send it away, get developed, or develop it at home, and that takes time and it costs money. So there is downsides to using a camera like this, but there is also a lot to be learned, a lot to be gained by using a camera like this, because it's totally manual. There is no electronics in it, it's mechanical. It doesn't even have a light meter. So what I will be doing today is I will be using one of these, and if you've never seen one of these before, it's a light meter, and it does incident readings and reflective readings. So it does the same reflective readings as what your camera, your SLR will do, and incident readings is when the light is falling onto the subject. So we'll do several photographs today, and we'll use this light meter to get some photographs, and we'll use it both in reflective and incident readings. Okay, so let's get up and going and we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, I've come to a place that's quite familiar to me. As you can see behind me, we've got the barn, we've got the road, and the trail and stuff. So I need to take, since this camera doesn't have a light meter, I need to take a meter reading. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm planning on taking it at a shutter speed around 1/60th of a second. And what I've done is the film that's in here is rated at ISO 100, but I'm going to rate it at 64, which basically means I will be overexposing slightly, because this film tends to work better if it's slightly overexposed rather than underexposed. So let's take a meter reading, and it will be a reflective reading, so let's see what reading it gives us, okay? Okay, so it's given us a reading of 1/60th of a second at f11. So let's just set up the camera at 1/60th at f11. Okay, so let's put this at 1/60th at f11. It's currently on f8. Move that to f11. f60th. The shutter's already cocked. All I need to do now is take the shot. That's it. And then you wind the film on. And that's the shot. Now if I can show you the photograph, through the viewfinder, it'll give you an idea what I'm seeing. So when I look down into the camera, that's what I'm seeing. And when you focus, you extend the bellows, it comes in and out of focus. So that's what you would see inside the viewfinder of the Mamiya. And that line that you've seen at the top left corner of your viewfinder is something that helps you with something that's particular to a twin lens reflex, and that's parallax error. Basically, the top lens is what you look through, the bottom lens is what the photograph is taken through, and they both don't see the same. That's what we call parallax error. So that little line that you've seen in the left hand corner of the viewfinder, that helps you to adjust for that. Since I'm so far away from the object, I didn't need to adjust for it. But the closer you are, the more you'll have to take that into consideration. Okay, let's move on to the next subject, see if we can get another decent shot. Okay, so I've got this scene behind me, and what I've got here in the viewfinder is actually some poppies and stuff, and then you've got some foliage, then you've got the space in the trees, and then you've got the tree on the hill in the background. So bearing in mind that this is square format, you're not going to see from here to here. You're probably only going to see, well, from what I can tell, maybe there to there. And I'm going to use the light meter because I have to, and I'm going to use it in incident, take an incident light reading, not a reflective light reading, because the light that's falling here is also falling there, slightly brighter in the background. But in this photograph that I'm taking, what I'm trying to get is the poppies in the foreground, get them nice and sharp even though it's very windy. So I'm going to take a reading and set a faster shutter speed, maybe, I don't know, 250th of a second, but that will give me a very shallow depth of field. So we'll kind of compromise and we'll see what we can come up with. Let me take the reading first. Okay, it's given me 1/30th of a second at f22. So I'm going to take the shot at f22, 1/30th of a second. So I'll transfer those settings to the camera. I'll check my focus, and then I'll take the shot. Now I have focused on the foreground. I'm not too worried about the horizon there with the tree. The object of the exercise here is the flowers. Get the flowers in the foreground and let the rest of it take care of itself. F16 should give me enough to get it pretty sharp. So here, take the photograph. That was it. Wind the film on. And lock it so that I don't need to, so I don't accidentally okay. So wind the film on and lock the camera so that I don't accidentally trip the shutter. Hopefully my photographs are not as bad as that tractor smells. It is really bad, really bad. Okay, so again I'm going to take another photograph. Going to use the path leading into the distance, which will lead you into the trees. Then hopefully your eye will follow the trees and come back around and take in the whole photograph. Now what you're seeing on the video is not what you're going to see in the photograph, because this takes 6x6 square format images, so you won't see the landscape view. You're only going to see what the square can capture. So the height of what's in your frame, generally, by the width of what's the same width, so it's going to be square. The negative is 6x6, so that's all it can produce. There is other medium format film cameras out there that will do larger photographs, but this one will only do 6x6. So let's take a meter reading. I'm going to use it in reflective mode again. I've set the shutter speed to 60, so let's see what aperture it's going to give me. It's given us f16, but that's a reflective reading, so it's probably taken a reading of the sky. So what I'm going to do is, we're in the same, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an incident reading. Now I don't want to walk all the way up there to take the reading. I'm in the same light. So what I'll do is I'll just push this omnisphere, it's called, across, and then I'll take another reading, and it's given us f11 at 60. So I'm going to take the photograph at f11 at 1/60th, which I've already got set on the camera. So technically what I'm doing is I'm underexposing what the reflective reading is telling me. So I'm going to slightly underexpose by taking the incident reading. Okay, just going to take the shot. And wind the film on. So that's all there is to it. You take the meter reading, transfer the settings to the camera, and then take the shot. Okay, so we've done some photographs outside using the Mamiya twin lens reflex, and as I stated before, it was originally meant to be a studio camera. Now I'm not going to take photographs of a model, but what I am going to do is I'm going to do a still life setup, something very basic, and show you how I set it up in the past, and which gave me really good results. And I'll show you how I made the settings and so on, and then we'll actually take the photograph, and that photograph will also be displayed at some point in the video. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm going to set this stuff up and show you what I do. Okay, so this is going to be the photograph. It's just a couple of onions and some garlic in front of some old boards used as a temporary background. Now, if I zoom out, you can see there's my light meter. This is a basic setup, just sitting on top of a table. Here is the camera, as you can see. I've set up a small studio above my shop, and that's basically going to be the shot right there. Now the light meter is telling me that I'm going to have to shoot at 1 second for the light I'm using. I'm not using flash, I'm using artificial light, but it's daylight balanced. So for the aperture I'm using an aperture of f8, and to get front to back sharpness I'm going to have to use at least f8. f8 is going to give me a meter reading of 1 second, so I'm going to transfer those readings to the camera and take the shot. To the camera, and this is what I'm seeing through the viewfinder after having focused it with the 80mm lens on. So everything looks okay. This is the scene right here, right in front of the camera. Back to the viewfinder. Now in the viewfinder you'll see on the left side of the viewfinder you'll see a bar. Now that's telling me where the photograph is going to be cut off, because with a twin lens reflex you've got something that's called parallax error. I think I touched on that before. What one lens sees, the other lens doesn't see. So if that's focused properly, that's what the photograph is going to look like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the center column of the tripod 5 centimeters, because that's the difference between the center of the top lens, which is the viewing lens, and the center of the bottom lens, which is the taking lens, and that should correct for parallax error. There is something called a paramender. I used to have one, but in moving around it got lost somewhere. But there is something to fix this automatically. But if you've got the camera at 90 degrees, it's no big deal to just raise the center column by 5 centimeters. Okay, so after raising the center column 5 centimeters to correct for parallax error, that is what I'm now seeing through the viewfinder, and it looks like everything's going to get cut off, but it shouldn't do if I've done this correctly. So let's take the shot. And that's it, 1 second. So let's see how these photographs turned out.